Speaking of bad comedy, number 7 is a new release that we saw.
Subtle.
We saw last week. This is a remake of National Lampoon's Vacation back from the 80s, where Chevy Chase was so much younger and so much happier. And now he is the shell of a man, dragged around like a carcass into this mess that is Vacation.
Yeah, so it's not good.
Oh, it's awful.
It's very, very bad. I will preface this by saying that on the way back, like in previous weeks, thanks to I think Ted 2 was one of them, and then Hot Pursuit was the other inciting incident for me.
Yep.
That me and Liam have both said different points. Is comedy dead? Joe on the bus back also said this after Vacation. So that's all three of us now have said that. If that's the case, then something is sorely wrong with where you're going.
Modern mainstream comedy.
So Vacation is the directorial debut of writers Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley. Obviously, I've just watched the original after this as well, after I saw Vacation, the 1983 original National Lampoon's Vacation, which is rightly revered as a bit of a classic. It's really good, and obviously the sequels are sort of okay as well, apparently. But it is rightly a classic. It's probably the biggest comedy Chevy Chase was in back in the day. It's the one people associate him with. But this, it's been 30 years since the original. It's been a long time. They are just banking on the fact that. We had a bit of a talk about this after we came out, isn't it? The fact that whether it's a remake or a sequel, essentially, because it's got the same characters like in the film, but it's also sort of the same plot.
In canon, it's a sequel, but the contents of the film are essentially a remake of the original events of the first film.
Yeah, originally.
So it's both,
essentially. So we've got Helms in here. Obviously, he's a bankable comedy star, and that's probably why they're just trying to make a throwaway summer film and put in the same vein as. Because I was just saying that this is not a film that will be remembered if it wasn't connected to the National Lampoon series.
Yeah.
Because it is going to be remembered now. So obviously, this time we've got Ed Helms coming in. He plays the son of Chevy Chase's character in the original. He's Rusty Griswold, and his wife Debbie, played by Christina Applegate, who looks really, really, really
sick,
upset and sad about being there. And also we've got Leslie Mann and Chris Hemsworth in the cast as Debbie's sister and lover, really awkward lover. I'll get to that. And we've got the originals in there, obviously Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah,
that's how I pronounce her second name. Yeah, obviously I'll get to her as well.
But Beverly 5 lines D'Angelo.
Yeah, but obviously their family is falling apart, so they have to do something, and Rusty decides we might have to recreate the vacation that our family did 30 years ago.
But I haven't even heard of the original Vacation.
And they go off on their trip to Wally World, just like in the original. Get it? They're trying to do exactly the same thing in the original. Get it? It's smart meta humor, but it's not, because this is probably one of the most just sad comedies of the year. Like it's not hateful like Hot Pursuit or Search Party was. It's just really, really sad. Like I said, like you've just said there, the first 10 minutes when they're talking about the vacation, they have this meta scene where they're going on about, what vacation? I haven't even heard of this original vacation.
Which doesn't make sense as a line, because I'm assuming that's not the first family that's not the first holiday that family had. It's just the first one they made a film of.
Yeah, and why would they tell their kids about a random family holiday? Unless they only looked about 8 and 10. Come on,
it would work as a line if you hadn't told us about the first time we went to Wally World.
Yeah.
That's not as snappy, is it?
No, it's not as snappy at all.
So don't do it.
It's just a series of just awful. Obviously now I've seen the original. They seem to be recreating literally every story beat from the original. It is literally the entire plot of the original. We've got all the famous parts in there. We've got the rant from Chevy Chase recreated by Ed Helms. We've got obviously Holiday Road, the song
as soon as it kicks in.
But
I was angry from the first
thing about
second.
this. It has none of the charm, none of that family love that the original had, none of the things that made it pretty good. It has none of that, because it just feels totally empty, because none of the cast look like they want to be there. Charlie Day of It's Always Sunny fame's in there. He's got probably by far the best scene in the whole thing.
Standout scene.
When the family go on a kayak and little adventure, and he's it's a really funny scene, I won't spoil, but he is by far the standout part of the cast. He runs away with it. The rest of it is just, it's not even smirk worthy most of the time. It's just really poor attempts at slapstick humor. humour and then jokes that linger but don't have any effect, and you don't care for any of the family because there's just such a standard boring plot. The kids are bratty and horrible and just really, it's the first 10 minutes, you get these really awful bodily humour jokes that just aren't funny. It's that kind of humour is pretty good sometimes.
It's quite offensive.
Exactly, but it's really, really bad. It's taking the mick out of minorities and just people who are just really vulnerable. It's just poking fun at them. It's just really, it's not hateful.
It's a really common thing now in these kind of comedies, isn't it? Just to like cheap shots.
The worst thing, it's not even hateful as a film, Vacation. It's just really unfunny. I mean, Chris Hemsworth, like I was touching on before, has he plays this sort of like ultra jock, really like ultra farmer, like manly man. He has this really, really awkward scene. He's got a fake
prosthetic
part. Down below, and it's a scene that seems to go on forever and a day. Nobody laughed at that whole thing. There was more.
It's in the trailer.
Yeah. The most I heard in that film was just and this is from a cinema that there was a group of girls at the bottom who were laughing at every single joke.
I tweeted afterwards, Vacation is laugh a minute if you laugh at the bits that aren't even supposed to be jokes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
standard
kind of
dialogue. They were guffawing away.
Nothing funny about it at all.
No. And then obviously poor Beverly D'Angelo at the end. Obviously, the stuff happens, plot happens, and then they go back and they end up meeting Chevy Chase, who obviously retired now, and he gets a few wise words. But poor Beverly D'Angelo, obviously, who had just as much as important part as he did in the original, gets about 2 or 3 lines, and then suddenly she gets off on the adventure. Bye.
Drive, yeah.
And then look, it's the car from the original. Oh look, nostalgia. But none of it works because none of it is funny, and you don't care because it's just the most standard thing. They introduce this antagonistic character at the start, who's obviously a rival to Rusty, who works as an airplane pilot, and this guy is a more successful airplane pilot. And by the end, they meet up at Wally World, and he's getting on the ride because he's got premier passes, but Rusty's been waiting an hours with his family, and they have obviously that climactic fight, and it's just you don't care about any of that because you haven't got any investment in any of it. You don't care about any of them, and it's still standard. It's literally there's no point getting worked up about it because it is just standard and boring, and it's not funny at all, and that's a crime, really.
It's annoying that these films are literally only made because studios believe that young people don't want to watch original films because they're too old. Like it all needs to be modern and fresh, but it's just horrible. Joe, you said comedy is dead. You're finally on our level.
Finally,
get on our level.
I'm very fortunate on the film shows. I don't have to watch many terrible films often, but I don't know, maybe comedy's not dead. Hopefully something new will come out. But
it's not all comedy. It's just this kind of comedy.
This kind of big comedy dead. Reboots,
we do laugh at
reboots,
things just so we can reiterate.
But speaking of laughter, I think I kind of snickered 2 times in the film with Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah,
he's scene. Caitlin Olsen scene, which had me like kind of smirking because
that's the first time I properly laughed.
I was like, D, maybe something funny's gonna happen. That was funny for a minute, and then that just
kind of it dragged on to a weird conclusion as well.
The Charlie Day scene had us in absolute hysterics because it's Charlie Day. Like
the
that
choice of song for that
that was a perfect scene. That was genuinely funny.
Yeah.
And those were the only 3 times I laughed, and anything involving the family or anything, I literally stone-faced, no smiles, no smirks. Chris Hemsworth, none of the scenes worked, poor writing, lazy callbacks. And speaking of the pilot, the end fight scene, why the hell was Ron Livingston there?
Yeah,
they could literally use any other actor. He was literally in it for 2 scenes. It was just bad. But I just didn't enjoy it.
The scenes in the trailer that are like 30 seconds, or other critics have touched on this, that go on for about 6 or 7 minutes. Like the washing in the sewage scene goes on for so long, and it's just not funny. The scene with the advice where he's given sort of sexual advice, which is obviously interpreted badly, that goes on forever, and it just makes Ed Helms look really creepy.
It's only really funny. Well, it's only really fresh on the screen if you've not seen the trailer.
Obviously you've got forced relationship subplot with one of the kids, and this forced brotherly forced brotherly relationship between them that you don't care about. You don't care about the marriage because Christina Applegate Clee doesn't want to be there. She's more talented than this. Ed Helms, who is funny in some things, who doesn't deserve to be in this.
I don't know.
They got Christina Applegate's jokes out of the way straight away because they had nothing
the whole
for the rest of the
was
film.
Pushed aside in the first half an hour.
Even at the start, the photos like where they were revealing little things, I was like, this is going to be bad, isn't it?
It's just tacky, isn't it?
I just thought this isn't going to be fun.
No, it was not fun.
And they do at the end, and it's like people are meant to laugh, but no, it's just not fun.
5 years from now, all I remember is Charlie Day.
That's it. Literally, like as soon as I got on the bus, remember I said this. He saved that film from oblivion.
And Chevy Chase is looking so old.
Yeah,
God.
really,
Like,
really
like
old.
we obviously like loved him in Community, but now it's like. Anyway, it's fair. It's safe to say it's not a recommend.
Don't see it.
Do not see
if
it.
you like comedy, don't see it.
It's all the way down in 7, so not many people did see it.
Wait till the Charlie Day scene comes on YouTube. There we go.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, it'll probably be on something like Love Film, Netflix, something like that.
Yeah.
That's and
People
skip
still
and
use Love Film.
it's Amazon Prime now.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that what? Oh yeah, God,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
stupid. Yeah.